But we may be so trained to keep going, pushing, performing beyond the point of exhaustion, or even taking pride in pushing ourselves beyond our limits that we don't feel safe to try trusting our gut, trusting our bodies when it says we simply need to stop. Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Shafer of Talks with Dr. Shafer. I'm a physician, mom, life coach, musician, author, publisher, and I am passionate about using storytelling as a tool to help you reclaim your story and build your most beautiful future. Thank you so much for joining me again today for one of our short talks on Talks with Dr. Shafer every Thursday, where I help introduce you to concepts and tools to help you master your mindset, reclaim control over your nervous system so that you can work towards reclaiming your story and building your most beautiful future. Today, I want to talk about the power in the pause. To pause or to perish. Now, that may seem like a stretch, but it is so true that so many of us now are pushing us beyond the bounds of what we can sustain and into the danger zone as to what our minds and bodies can take. And it's having real impact on our health and our happiness. You can feel it. Your reserves are growing thin. The sensation that you must keep going, even when it is no longer rubber you are running on the road, but metal that is now scraping the ground, sending sparks all around you. Yet you feel you can't stop. This part of the journey is becoming treacherous, but it doesn't have to. We often worry a lot about what will happen if we take a needed pause. But we often think less about the negative outcomes that occur from not pausing when we really need to. These consequences can be far greater and harder to recover from than the perceived loss of pausing. But we may be so trained to keep going, pushing, performing beyond the point of exhaustion, or even taking pride in pushing ourselves beyond our limits that we don't feel safe to try trusting our gut, trusting our bodies when it says we simply need to stop. When we go beyond our limits, we aren't doing our best and we aren't fooling anyone, certainly not our own bodies. We can learn to listen to our bodies and hear them when they say they need to pause. We can accept when enough is enough. But it can be frightening to consider pausing. Sometimes we're afraid. What if the magic of the momentum we have in this moment is forever lost if we pause? What if in stopping we never get this moment back, this momentum? But when we take an honest assessment of this moment, it may be that we have already lost control, that we are moving so fast without taking the necessary breaks to rest, to recalibrate, to make sure that we are still on course, to make sure that this course is even our desired path. When we start moving at a reckless speed, where it begins to feel that we cannot slow down and we cannot take care of ourselves, we are no longer living our own life. We are living a synthetic version of a human life, so caught up in production and forward momentum that it sacrifices the experience, when in reality, the experience is all we have. What would happen today if you just stopped? And what will happen if you don't? Recently, I was struck by a viral illness that quite literally left me barely able to move. And that is a state that you will rarely find me in. I often wonder to myself why I have chairs and couches in my home, because it is so rare that I actually sit down. Despite my understanding of the body and the mind's need for rest and recovery, for quiet moments in which to become curious and find deeper meaning, I still struggle with giving myself the time and space to meet my own needs. In part, that's been driven by this being a very busy season of life. My daughter has been promoting her third book and writing her fourth, and we have traveled to help her achieve her dream of spreading the word of her philanthropic efforts and her work to empower other young people to write their stories and make a positive impact. I've been growing my business, connecting with our family, training our new puppy, writing and publishing several of my own books releasing in 2025, and in general, riding a wave of inspiration and dedication to spreading awareness of the power we all have to master our mindset and build our most beautiful future, reclaiming control over our nervous system and therefore our stories. I've fought my own demons, both real and less lifelike, and helped others do the same. All of this has taken time and effort and energy, and when we're aiming high, we have to give a lot to gain the altitude we're seeking to elevate ourselves and our cause too. But we have to remain in control over the ascent, or we risk a sudden and serious fall that could be even catastrophic. Like a paraglider, we can't control the wind, but we must know how to navigate it and how to use the tools we have to harness its power. We need to understand the elements and use our best judgment to know when we can glide and when we must wait, rest, recuperate, and plan for our next attempt to soar. And so today, this short talk on Talks with Dr. Shafer is going to be truly short because I know a lot of us right now are up there raving unruly elements and our sails may be running thin. We may not have taken the time to stitch up that tear from an earlier glide in our haste to capitalize on the good conditions and the progress that we have been making of late. But in our haste and our loss of focus on our big goals in order to desperately keep going in this moment, we may actually set us back on our mission, or even worse, lead us to crash. Because just as when we are about to faint, when we are feeling lightheaded, getting dizzy, hot, sweaty, heart pounding, our vision tunneling, if we don't heed those warnings that our body and our nervous system are sending us, get ourselves down and lie flat on the ground, our brain and our body will simply put us down out of survival. Suddenly, with a crash, maybe some broken bones, or even lost teeth. Because in that moment, our nervous system was signaling to us that we were in critical need of a pause. We'd pushed our body too far. And if we don't learn how to heed our body's signals, our nervous system signals, and our mind signals for the need to rest, they will step in and force it to happen in ways that are outside of our control and not on our terms. So today, I want you to stop and think about the signals your body is sending you and really start to learn to listen to them and heed them before they hit a critical level, before it all goes black. And when you learn to heed these cues from your nervous system and you respond to them cooperatively with yourself sooner and sooner, you may find that the amount of rest and recuperation is less than before that you need because you haven't pushed yourself to the point of your need being critical, of you being exhausted. You may find that prioritizing yourself and responding to your body's cues doesn't take you away from your goal, but keeps you better rested, more energized, and feeling more capable of meeting the day's goals and beyond. So, take the time to pause, starting now. Thank you so much for joining me on this short talk on Talks with Dr. Shafer. I hope that this has helped you to master your mindset and reclaim control over your nervous system one day, one step at a time. We're working together to do so that you can reclaim your story, take back the pen, and build the most beautiful life that you truly deserve. Please subscribe to the show if you haven't already so that you don't miss the exciting and inspirational guest episodes we have coming up for you on Talks with Dr. Shafer, as well as more short talks to help you master your mindset. Until next time, stay safe and take care. I'll talk to you soon.